Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. We're also broadcasting on 910 a.m. Superstation, WFDF, on their Facebook page as well. Welcome to the African History Network show. It is Tuesday, September 7th, 2021, and we are live. So we weren't on the air live yesterday for Labor Day, and we went on the air live. We were on live Friday, but we weren't on Sunday, and we were not on Monday. All right. So I did a special Labor Day broadcast on my social media platforms dealing with the African American roots of Labor Day and showing how Labor Day is also connected to the Industrial Revolution, and how the Industrial Revolution, which starts in the 1790s in England, how the roots of the Industrial Revolution is in the African slave trade and the cotton that African slaves produced. This is the foundation largely of the Industrial Revolution, and the Industrial Revolution gives way to the organized labor movement. Okay. So it was about a 2.5 hour presentation that I did. It's on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. So you can watch it there. One of the things that I talked about in that presentation is there was a piece from news1.com on September 6th, on Labor Day, which deals with 5 Black-led labor unions that paved the way for African-American workers' rights. Okay, 5 African-American led labor unions that paved the way for African-American workers' rights. We'll talk some about that today. We'll talk a little bit about that. Now, a lot of people got the bad news on Labor Day on September 6th about the passing of actor Michael K. Williams, probably best known for his role as Omar Little on the on the show The Wire. And he passed away at age 54. This took everybody by surprise. He passed away at age 54. He was on The Wire. He was on Lovecraft Country as well. Passed away at age 54. And it is suspected it was a drug overdose. It's suspected it was a drug overdose. I've been reading some different reports on this, and there was drug paraphernalia found. And actually, one report it said there was a substance that is believed to be heroin that was found near him. He was found by his nephew. Okay. So we'll talk some about this and talk about his legacy. There was an interesting segment from the Black News Channel that talked about Michael K. Williams as well. And, you know, he was a brilliant actor. He started out as a dancer. He was a dancer for people like Missy Elliott, for Crystal Waters. He was a dancer for Janet Jackson in the 1814 tour. So, you know, this is a big loss. We've lost so many people, so many entertainers untimely, and some of them to some of them to drug addiction, drug overdose, etc. Everybody from DMX, okay, to Shock G, Humpty Hump, Shock G. Black Rob, okay, not saying it was drug overdose with Black Rob, but Black Rob. We know we just commemorated the 1-year anniversary of the passing of Chadwick Boseman. That was from prostate cancer. Chadwick Boseman. So there have been so many entertainers that we've lost, who many of them under 60 years old, some under 50. You know, lost untimely. And some just a little over 50 years old. we'll talk a little bit about Michael K. Williams today, and his career and his legacy as well. And I was familiar with Michael K. Williams, and I saw some of his acting, here and there. I'm one. I don't watch The Wire. Never watched The Wire. I think I may have seen. I saw. I think I saw maybe a half hour, 45 minutes of an episode of The Wire, but I wasn't a Wire fan. But I liked him. I saw an interview that he did, and I can't even remember the show, but he was working with this African American kid who was headed down the wrong path. It was like a real show, and they were trying to get this kid on the right path. So they had Michael talk to him and share his background, things like this. So, this is a big loss, but also this deals with so I posted about this. The first article I saw about this was on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. First article I saw about this was from New York Post. And I shared the article on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. It got over 6,000 likes. And a lot of people were saying things like leave drugs alone, just say no, different things like this. And that's understandable, but also many people need mental health treatment, mental health counseling to deal with trauma in their life, to deal with a bad childhood, to deal with various types of abuse in their life. And those are things that trauma, the abuse, those are things that lead people to drug addiction oftentimes. And this was, it appears this was a contributing factor here with Michael K. Williams as well. So we'll talk some about this. And then also, another big story from today, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, idiotic Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott, signed into law SB 1, the voter restriction bill in Texas to address a problem that doesn't exist, operating based upon the big lie, operating based upon the big lie that there was rampant voter suppression in the 2021 midterm election, and the election was stolen from Donald Trump. Texas already has some of the strongest voting laws and some of the strongest voter restriction laws already in the country. Then they passed this, and many people are saying it's to target African Americans and Latinos in Texas that have a growing population, and white people have a declining population in Texas. Texas is becoming more diverse and less white. And so, and we also know that Donald Trump's former Attorney General, William Barr, said there was no evidence of widespread voter fraud in the 2021 midterm election, especially anything that would have changed any election results. So we see this taking place. Remember, there's about 51 Democrats who fled Texas, went to Washington, D.C., trying to seek help, trying to push for the passing of the For the People Act, the passing of the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, to get protection in the state of Texas from these voter restriction laws. A lot of this is targeted toward Harris County. Harris County is where Houston, Texas is. Houston, Texas has a large African-American population as well. Okay, so we're going to talk some about this today. Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Tuesday signed into law a bill that creates strict new voting rules in the state, ending a months-long effort by Democrats to stall the legislation by denying Republicans a quorum in the Texas State House. But the law already faces at least 5 lawsuits. The law already faces at least 5 legal challenges in state and federal courts with dozens of organizations and individuals suing Texas GOP leaders and local elections officials. Governor Greg Abbott said he did not think the legal challenges would derail the legislation. He said, I feel extremely confident. I feel extremely confident that when this law makes it through the litigation phase, it will be upheld in the court of law. It will be upheld in the court of law. Governor Greg Abbott told reporters in Tyler, Texas, where he signed the bill. What was interesting is that when Governor Greg Abbott signed this bill, he was surrounded by a bunch of grinning, skinning white men and one white woman and one wayward, brain-damaged Negro. But it was white men, especially older white men, that was around him when he signed the bill. He said the bill makes it easier to vote in Texas. Now, those filing lawsuits challenge that. Make it easier for who? He said it makes it easier to vote in Texas and harder to cheat. But they have no evidence of widespread voter fraud, anything like this in Texas. And in one of the lawsuits filed by Mark Elias, he says in the lawsuit, it is no, Rachel Maddow talked about this today on the Rachel Maddow show. He said it is no coincidence that SB 1 passed just months after Texas Republican Party leaders, including the state's governor, the state's attorney general, and members of its congressional delegation, tried and failed to overturn the presidential election results and disenfranchise millions of voters in other states. Okay, so this is the backdrop. This is what's going on behind the scenes, dealing with this law. But rather to stem the growing tide of minority voter participation by weaponizing the false, repeatedly debunked accusations of widespread voter fraud advanced by supporters of former President Donald Trump during the 2020 presidential election. So this is all based upon the big lie, and they're weaponizing the big lie. This is about suppressing the votes of African Americans, Latinos, etc. So we'll talk about this a little bit. We probably won't have time to talk about Governor Greg Abbott's plan to eliminate rape in the state of Texas, getting backlash from the restrictive abortion bill. He said today, when he signed this idiotic bill, he was asked about the new Texas abortion law, and he said that his goal is to eliminate rape in Texas and arrest the rapists and things like this, because the new abortion bill in Texas, which has that $10,000 bounty that you hear a lot about. The law bans an abortion as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy, before many women are even aware that they are pregnant. You get the idea that a lot of these idiotic white men, that's basically who they are. A lot of these idiotic white men that pass these restrictive bills that govern women's bodies, you get the impression they don't understand like women's bodies. You get listening to them, you get the impression they don't understand women's bodies, which makes sense. Okay, which makes sense, because a lot of them look like they can't get a woman unless they were paying for it. I mean, this is be honest. Okay, Governor. So we'll talk about this on the other side of the break. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number. Call-in number if you have a question or comment. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by, everybody. Stand by. How's everybody doing? Share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in also. Stand by. If you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. Stand by. If you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, and through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. Also, we have a special promotion. Spend at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Spend $100 or more, get 20% off your orders of DVD lectures and digital downloads. That's at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Stand by. All right. Back from break in 4 minutes. 3 minutes. Back from break in 3 minutes. Stand by. Stand by. Okay. How's everybody doing? We have Sharon. We have Kenya. Miss Bryn. Just a few of the people watching. Stand by. Back from break in 2 minutes. Back from break in 1 minute. Stand by.
The Super Station, the oldest radio station in town since 1922.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Tuesday, September 7th, 2021, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. If you have a question or comment, 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. Right before the break, we were talking some about the untimely passing of Michael K. Williams, actor from The Wire and Lovecraft Country. He was also in the Netflix miniseries When They See Us as well, about the Central Park Five. So we'll talk about, we'll continue our discussion dealing with the passing of Michael K. Williams. I want to let you know that I will be speaking at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History coming up Sunday, September 26th. There is a coming up Sunday, September 26th. There's a screening of the documentary Hapi, dealing with African history and economic empowerment. Sunday, September 26th, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Visit the website hapifilm.com, hapifilm.com, H-A-P-I, hapifilm.com to get your tickets. And they're going to be, the film features Dr. Linda Jeffries and Professor Jane Small, Dr. Wade Nobles, other scholars and economists like Dr. Julia Malvo. There are going to be some scholars from the documentary at the event. We're going to have a panel discussion. I'll be moderating the panel discussion. We'll have more details for you on that on tomorrow's show also. Visit the website hapifilm.com for more information. All right, so on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. because right now it's correct wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. All right, I want to jump right into this. Now, there was a good article that I saw dealing from Hollywood Reporter, HollywoodReporter.com, dealing with the passing of Michael K. Williams. I also saw a good piece from the Griot and surprisingly New York Post as well, as right wing as the New York Post is. But if we look at this piece here, and we're going to go to clip one in just a second, Shakita. We're going to go to clip one in just a second. If we look at this piece here from Hollywood Reporter, let me pull this up, flip over to this. Okay, Michael K. Williams, the Wire actor, dies at 54. The Lovecraft Country star and 5-time Emmy nominee was found dead in his Brooklyn home on Monday, an NYPD rep told the Hollywood Reporter. So, Michael K. Williams, the mesmerizing actor and 5-time Emmy nominee, best known for his role as Baltimore stick-up man Omar Little on HBO's The Wire, has died, his rep told the Hollywood Reporter. Now, like I said, I've only seen like part of one episode of The Wire, but I knew that Michael K. Williams portrayed Omar Little on The Wire. That's how iconic the show is, how iconic his portrayal of that character was also. It is with deep sorrow that the family announces the passing of Emmy-nominated actor Michael Kenneth Williams. They ask for your privacy while grieving this insurmountable loss. His rep, Mariana Shafran of Shafran PR, said. Now, Michael Williams was found in his Brooklyn home on Monday afternoon. A New York Police Department spokesperson told the Hollywood Reporter, no cause of death was available. Now, it's early on, it's suspected that, so you'll hear different reports on this. It's suspected it was a drug overdose, but it's not conclusive now. And that was looking at the reporting from New York Post. That is based upon drug paraphernalia that was found, but also a substance that they believe is heroin, okay, that was found as well. Now, he was found by his nephew. So those preliminary assumptions are not conclusive yet. Okay, this is after the autopsy and everything. But that's what is suspected. Now, more recently, Michael K. Williams portrayed Montrose Freeman on HBO's Lovecraft Country. And I've heard about Lovecraft Country. I've never seen it before. Okay. But I've heard about Lovecraft Country as well. For which he received a 2021 Emmy nomination for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series. Now, the award's on September 19th, so there's a lot of anticipation that he's finally going to win this Emmy. Unfortunately, if he wins, he won't be here to accept the award, but there's growing anticipation that this will be the year that he wins. He portrayed the character of Bobby McCrae, the father of Antron McCrae, played by Khalil Harris, who convinced his son to sign a false confession. So this was in Ava DuVernay's 2019 Netflix miniseries, The Central Park Five. About the Central Park Five. It's called When They See Us. Okay, about the Central Park Five, and that got a lot of that got rave reviews on Netflix. Okay, that got rave reviews. And it caused a lot of people, that series caused a lot of people to look at the role that prosecutors play. And over the past few years, there has been more focus on the role the prosecutors play in voting more progressive prosecutors into office and voting bad prosecutors out of office. Because a lot of people started realizing, well, wait a second. We keep complaining about police officers not being prosecuted. Police officers need to be prosecuted, not being prosecuted. Police brutality, unlawful, unjust killing of African Americans, things like this. So people started realizing, well, wait a second. It's not just about mayor and city council. The position of prosecutor, district attorneys, things like this, county prosecutors, those are elected positions. State's attorney general, those are elected positions. So people started realizing, well, wait a second. We can vote these people out of office and vote better prosecutors into office who will prosecute officers. Okay. We saw that with Keith Ellison in Minnesota. Okay. Who prosecuted and got a conviction against Officer Derek Chauvin in the murder of George Floyd. Okay. We see that with prosecutors like Kim Fox in the Chicago area, prosecutors like Marilyn Mosby in Baltimore. So people started realizing this. Well, wait a second. We don't have to keep dealing with a lot of this stuff. We can vote better prosecutors in the office who will go after, who will do their jobs. Okay. And the miniseries, When They See Us, helped to highlight, helped to, even though that movement was before then, for 2019, but it helped to illuminate that as well, the role of prosecutors. Okay, let's go back to this article. So he was in Ava DuVernay's 2019 Netflix miniseries, When They See Us. The gravelly voiced Michael Kenneth Williams also starred as angry Vietnam veteran Leonard Pine for 3 seasons from 2016 to 2018 on the Sundance TV drama Hap and Leonard. He also portrayed racketeer Chalky White on HBO's Boardwalk Empire from 2010 to 2014, and he portrayed inmate Freddie Knight in 2016 in the 2016 miniseries The Night Of, which was also on HBO. Now, a statement from the HBO network said, "We are devastated to learn of the passing of Michael Kenneth Williams, a member of the HBO family for more than 20 years. A member of the HBO family for more than 20 years. While the world is aware of his immense talents as an artist, we knew Michael as a dear friend who was beloved by all who had the privilege to work with him. We send our deepest condolences to his family for this immeasurable loss." Now, Michael Kenneth Williams was born in Brooklyn, New York on November 22nd, 1966. His mother was from the Bahamas and his father was from South Carolina. So hopefully some people, some quote unquote black people, won't disown him now, because his parents weren't here for generations of slave ancestry. His mother's from the Bahamas, like African people weren't taken into the Bahamas also. Nat Turner's mother was from Haiti. Malcolm X's mother was from Grenada. So, okay. And his father was from South Carolina. South Carolina is where the Civil War started, by the way. And South Carolina was also the first state to secede from the Union. So he was raised in the Vanderveer housing projects in East Flatbush and attended George Westinghouse Career and Technical Education High School in the borough. Michael said, "Growing up, I got picked on a lot," he told Time magazine in 2017. He said, "I was the corny one. I was not popular with the ladies. In a very alpha male community, being sensitive is not considered a quality. In a very alpha male community, being sensitive is not considered a quality." Now, he excelled in street dancing and danced on tours fronted by the likes of George Michael and Madonna, as well as Crystal Waters, Janet Jackson, and Missy Elliott. Now he had a career as a dancer before pursuing acting with the National Black Theater in New York City. Now, I've been to the National Black Theater in New York City also. He made his on-screen debut in the movie Bullet in 1996, starring Mickey Rourke and the late Tupac Shakur. Tupac had seen a photo of Michael K. Williams, who by then had a prominent facial scar as a result of a fight he had on his 25th birthday, the slash across his face. And Tupac helped get Michael hired to play his brother in the 1996 movie Bullet. Now, Michael K. Williams guest starred on episodes of such shows as The Sopranos. Now, I used to watch The Sopranos back in the day on HBO because I had a girlfriend at the time who watched The Sopranos, so I started watching The Sopranos. Okay, so my show was Soul Food on Showtime, and when they canceled Soul Food, I canceled Showtime. And when they canceled The Sopranos, I canceled HBO. So, all right, let's continue here. So he was on The Sopranos. He was on Alias. He was also on Boston Legal. He was also on the show Boston Legal before landing on David Simon's The Wire in 2002. So The Wire is like really what he's known for, the TV show The Wire. He would appear on 42 episodes of The Wire before Omar Little met his end in the 5th and final season. So hopefully he's not a spoiler for people who don't know that his character is Omar, met his demise. Okay, so but hopefully he's not a spoiler. Michael K. Williams, speaking of the character of Omar that he portrayed for 5 seasons, said Omar became an alter ego. Okay, a gay man who doesn't like fantasy, doesn't like fancy clothes or fancy cars. So on the show, the character of Omar Little is a shotgun carrying stick-up man, but he's also gay. All right. He said a gay man who doesn't like fancy clothes or fancy cars, does not do drugs, doesn't even curse, and robs the most gangster drug dealers in the community. He's an outcast. And I identified with that immensely. He's an outcast, and I identified with that immensely. Let me flip over to this statement. We're going to go to the phone lines in just a second. 313-778-7600 is the calling number. If you have a question or comment, we'll go to the phone lines in just a minute here. Okay, he said he's an outcast, and I identified with that immensely. Instead of using it as a tool to maybe heal myself, I hid behind that. Instead of using it as a tool to maybe heal myself, I hid behind that. Nobody was calling Michael in the streets. Everything was Omar. Okay. So when people would see him in person, they would call him Omar. All right. He said, I mistook that admiration. It felt good, but it wasn't for me. It was for a fictional character. When that show ended, along with that character, I was clueless about how to deal with that. I crumbled, end quote. He talked about meeting President Barack Obama, then Senator Obama, in 2008. In 2008, Senator Obama called The Wire his favorite TV series and Omar his favorite character. Okay. He said, that's not an endorsement. He's not my favorite person. But he's a fascinating character, Obama said. I want to go to this clip here this is from the Black News Channel. This is a quick 1.5 minute excerpt here dealing with the life and career of Michael K. Williams. Let's go to clip number 1, Shakita. Okay, we'll get that queued up for you just a second here.
And either play or get played.
The iconic role of Omar Little on The Wire earned Michael K. Williams a page in Hollywood history. The actor grew up in Brooklyn and said in interviews his early years were not easy.
I was angry. I had a lot of energy. I was very angry. A lot of my anger was turned inward. I hurt myself a lot.
Williams was known for stealing scenes on critically acclaimed TV shows like Lovecraft Country and Boardwalk Empire.
To me.
Long before the TV fame, he worked as a professional dancer.
Yes, ma'am. I used to be a dancer. Yeah. Mostly house music. I danced for Crystal Waters. I danced for Technotronics featuring Yaka K. Shout out to Yaya if you ever hear this. Still love you, girl. I worked with Genuine, Missy Elliott. Yeah, I had some fun in my dance career.
His career would be defined by roles in award-winning films and TV work that earned him 5 Emmy nominations. Michael K. Williams was that rare talent who moved many. Reporting from Los Angeles, I'm Anita Bennett for Start Your Day.
Okay, pause it right there. Thanks. All right, thanks, Shakita. Okay, Genuine, Crystal Waters, Technotronics as well. I remember Yake Kid. So this was a part. Now, so many people have been posting videos. I've been on my Instagram page and I've been on Facebook, and so many people have been posting videos of him dancing and videos of interactions with him as well. So this is just a huge loss. He was a phenomenal person. He touched a lot of people in his life. Let's go quickly here to the phone lines. I want to go to line 1. We have Buck on line 1. Buck, welcome to the African History Network show. Thanks for holding. Tell us who you're calling from.
Yeah, 625. Hey, calling from Detroit, Michigan.
From Detroit. Okay, go ahead with your question or comment.
I just wanted to make this a comment, man. I wanted to say, I've been listening to the show lately because I drive at night now.
Oh, you're the truck driver. You're the truck driver, right? You're the truck driver, right?
Yeah, I'm a truck driver.
Okay.
And every time I listen to you, I feel like I'm being informed,
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's things that I like, Brother Michael, most condolences to him. But I can tell you do your research. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, thanks.
I hope they can give you some of that time that they gave them guys before you. Because I don't feel informed from that show. I don't feel like they do research when they talk about some of the things they talk about.
Okay.
I just wanted to state that because I was really disappointed today and some of the stuff they were talking about, they didn't know what they were talking about.
Okay.
So try to tell them what was really going on.
Right.
Rather just debunk you.
Right.
I want to tell you that I appreciate you putting your research into the things you bring on your show.
Thanks.
My brother, I hope you get more time on the show.
Well, let me just say this, Buck. But let me say this before you leave. Okay. One, I'm the only host on 6 days a week on this network. Number one. 2, I'm not trying to get more time because I'm on 6 days a week. I appreciate what you're saying, but I'm the only one on this network out of all the hosts. I'm the only one on 6 days a week. Okay. And secondly, I appreciate what you're saying, but just so you understand, I don't speak negatively about other talk show hosts on the network, and their content, because I have no control over that. I have no control over that. So I understand what you're saying. I appreciate, I appreciate what you're saying, but
I appreciate you, man.
yeah, okay.
Every time I've listened to you for the last couple of weeks, I came out feeling I was educated about something.
Right.
Sometimes I didn't even know about.
Right.
I was able to do my research based on you planting that seed.
Right. All right.
Serious and doing your research and bringing some truth to the people. So that's all I want to say.
All right, no problem, Buck. And then and keep in mind on Sundays, I'm on 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Sundays. I'm on 2 hours on Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Okay, Buck. Keep listening. Thanks for calling. Okay, thanks for calling. All right. Let's go to, I think we have one other call. I think we have Norman on line 2. Hey, Norman, welcome to the African History Network show. Thanks for holding. Tell us where you're calling from, Norman.
Yeah, I'm
I'm calling from Detroit. I happen to be in Detroit.
Detroit. Okay.
The next couple of weeks. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. Now, are you on a hey, Norman, are you on a speakerphone or a Bluetooth earpiece? Because your voice sounds a little muffled.
I'm in a hallway here.
Oh, hallway. Oh, okay. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I can try to get upstairs and get my phone because I was down there throughout some garbage and I have my Bluetooth on.
Okay. All right.
I'm in the hallway.
Okay.
I don't want to get the terror. But here's the question.
Sure.
The issue that I have, and I'm kind of ambivalent with the presentation of this gentleman. I've heard all the networks and a lot of the news media talk about Brother Michael K. Williams, but I also am disturbed at the roles that he played. Here was a brother that to me appeared to be extremely talented in a role, and yet he's playing roles as a gangster, a bank robber, and it goes on, and people are falling in love with that. I don't see him playing a role like a carpenter, or a pharmacist or something like that, something like that, or a physician, or
right,
a surgeon, and things like that.
So
I like to think that a lot of our talent is simply a lot of our talented people. Talent is being channeled into characters. They do a very good, job on them. That some people want to call it negativity, but it's like you have the bad guy and stuff. But because that's kind of disturbing. The other thing is
well, just a second. Let me address that. Just a second. Let me address that. Let me address your first statement, and then we'll go to the second one. So, a lot of that has to do with the roles that are written in Hollywood. A lot of that has to do with the roles that are written in Hollywood. Now, that was not all the roles that he played, but his most iconic role was on The Wire, the TV show The Wire. But a lot of that has to do with the roles that are written in Hollywood, which is why we need more diversity in the types of roles and stories that are told in Hollywood. Now, he wasn't a drug dealer or something like that in the When They See Us, when he played the father of one of the Central Park Five. I don't think he portrayed that type of role there. But go ahead with your next comment.
Well, I also see him as part of the overall victim of the destruction of how we counted our ability to achieve it and to exist in society is destroyed. And here is a brother with all of his talent in the world that got involved in illicit toxic drug, non-medical drug, like heroin that he did not grow and it was brought into this community, but probably came from places that are far away, and that as we look at some of the reports that we've seen, that was financed by our government to these people who grow these type of products and those sort of things, and yet it finds itself in an area of Brooklyn, and it finds itself being pushed in our community. And so he is a victim of a soldier of he has fallen victim to the war on drugs, and that has decimated our intelligentsia in our community. And I see him as that. I see it as another thing. There was a brother that had to go off and he had an issue, and he had to go off and hide about this issue, rather than being able to seek treatment.
Right.
Maybe we need to take a new direction. I look at it. I write about these sort of things in my blog, and y'all don't want me to say that, but and I am a pharmacist, and our group is because of how this war,
right,
this geopolitical policy that has been waged on specifically targeting us, and
Michael K. Williams is, I will say he's a prominent victim, a victim of this war that is in waging us. But there are many who didn't have the stature of Michael K. Williams that unfortunately have fallen victim to this type of treatment. And
Right.
the two things we have to look at in terms of these type of substances in terms of getting treatment and sustainability in the sense of bringing these people back into the community. They may be on this for the rest of their life. I'm saying heroin is a product that people
Right.
quite understand. You may get stuck on it, but you got to look at some form of legalization. And I sent you a copy of the article just a minute ago that was trending on the scientific internet. It says that your doctor and your pharmacist are not the source of illegal opioids, but the DEA is. If you read that article, and it's been trending all over, you're part of the group that has been fighting and exposing this type of deception,
Right.
the victimization and stuff.
Okay.
Again, and we need to.
All right.
Again, I look at him too.
Hey,
I can't help but look at the brother two ways. I'm not going to try to get, you did this, that.
Right. That's fine. All right. Hey, Norman, we ran out of time for the show. We ran out of time, Norman. You can call back tomorrow night. This is only a 1 hour show. All right. Thanks for calling. Keep listening. Okay. I want to go quickly here to, let's see here. Read the rest of the article from the Hollywood Reporter. And let me go back to this article quickly here from Hollywood Reporter. Then I want to look at the one from Vice.com. It has some comments from some celebrities like Wendell Pierce, who co-starred in The Wire. Okay, so The Guardian reported that Michael K. Williams responded in a 2012 interview saying, quote, doing something that warrants the attention of the president of the United States is super cool, end quote, before acknowledging that his most well-known character was a standard dude who lived by codes. Quote, that was one of the things that Obama loved about him, that he lived by his codes, CODES. Now, let's see here. So Michael Williams also received Emmy nominations for his work in the 2015 telefilm Bessie, the night of Vice. He explored the issue of young people in jail in 2018 and in 2019's Ava DuVernay's When They See Us. His big screen resume included Gone Baby Gone in 2007, Antoine Fuqua's Brooklyn's Finest in 2009, The Road in 2009, Steve McQueen's 12 Years a Slave in 2015, The Gambler in 2014, Assassin's Creed in 2016, Superfly 2018, and Motherless Brooklyn in 2019. Now, working on Lovecraft Country, which a lot of people have seen, and I haven't seen a single episode of Lovecraft Country. I'm not against the show. It's just like, I don't watch a lot of scripted television and a lot of different series. I don't watch a lot of it. I'm not against it. It's just I don't have time to, tune in every week to watch it. Now I do watch Godfather Harlem. Okay. And like 2 Sundays ago, my man Bumpy Johnson said to be a politician, you need to have a little gangster in you. And this is what I've been saying. Okay. And to deal with these traitors Republicans, to be a politician, you need a whole lot of gangster in you. This is what I've been saying. We need more Democrats like Bumpy Johnson or independents. They need to be more like Bumpy Johnson to deal with these traitorous Republicans. Okay. But that's a whole nother show. But anyway. I'm waiting for the next episode of Godfather of Harlem. Forrest Whitaker is doing a fantastic job portraying Bumpy Johnson. And Bumpy Johnson, for those that don't know, Bumpy Johnson provided security for Malcolm X when Malcolm left the Nation of Islam. Bumpy Johnson and Malcolm X were good friends. And Malcolm X called off the security maybe 2 or 3 weeks before he was assassinated. But when Malcolm leaves the nation, Bumpy Johnson provides security for him. So working on Lovecraft Country, he told co-star Jonathan Majors in a conversation arranged by The Hollywood Reporter, quote unquote, changed me for the better. Lovecraft Country changed me for the better. Okay. He said, I understood now the importance of therapy, which I am in. I understand that I have trauma, that we have trauma that affects us that we were not even alive to see. Blood trauma. I was clueless to all of that prior to the Lovecraft journey, end quote. Those watching on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, keep watching. We're going to keep broadcasting for a few more minutes. Right now, it's correct wrong behaviors, not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. All right, stand by. All right, let's keep going here for a few more minutes. Okay, so he was talking about Lovecraft Country, the role he played in seeking therapy. Okay, because he did go through therapy. He did get help. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to kick the demons dealing with drug addiction. Okay, I understand now the importance of therapy, which I am in. I understand that I have trauma, that we have trauma that affects us that we were not even alive to see, blood trauma. I was clueless to all of that prior to the Lovecraft journey, end quote. Now, during a SAG-AFTRA Conversations at Home interview in 2020, Michael K. Williams became emotional while discussing how much his role as Montrose Freeman in Lovecraft Country personally affected him. Okay. And just a second here. Let me pull this back up. Just 1 second. All right. And then next we'll talk about a little bit about the bill that Governor Greg Abbott signed into law today in Texas. Also, the voter restriction bill, SB 1. All right. Okay, let's continue here. So he said Lovecraft Country took me on an emotional and mental roller coaster. Lovecraft Country took me on an emotional and mental roller coaster that I was not prepared for personally. Thank God I had the cast and these amazing angels around me to hold me up. He said this before breaking down in tears, causing other cast members to do the same. Now, Courtney B. Vance, who plays George Foreman in the series, immediately offered support to his co-star, emphasizing to the actor, quote unquote, "We are with you." In a 2011 interview with soon to be the Hollywood Reporter Awards analyst Scott Feinberg, Michael K. Williams was asked how he would like to be remembered. He said, quote, "Man, I just want people to remember me as one cool ass dude, someone who cared. And I would never want anyone to say, oh, he forgot where he came from. That would hurt me the most." He said, I would never want anyone to say he forgot where he came from. Okay, that would hurt me the most. All right. Vice.com had a good piece, and it had some comments from celebrities as well. A fine man tributes paid to Michael K. Williams after actor dies, age 54. Let me flip over to this here from Vice.com. So they have a statement here from Wendell Pierce, who was on The Wire. "From my heart years ago, I said it then, and I must say it now." So they have this video here.
I think I crossed the line with, my real life and Omar's fictional life. I think I crossed the line with, my real life and Omar's fictional life. but I had to, I learned now how to separate the fictional world from my real life. But the line got a little gray because I was a little green in the early process of that.
Well, he may say that he was green, but Michael has contributed two of the most iconic characters in the history of American television, with Omar and with Chalky White. What we are actually getting to witness in his young career, we're going to see a lot more, is like one of the great American actors, giving voice and giving flesh to characters that most people would have never given the same humanity to, opening a window to a world of men that we pass by or don't know about. It's one of the most innovative portrayals on television in our generation, and it was an honor for me to even share the screen with him. One of the greatest moments I've ever had in my career was the scenes that I did with Michael. He's a very special man, very special artist, and what art is to the community, thoughts are to the individual. It's the place where we reflect on who we are, and he has opened up a window of reflection to people who may pass people on the corner that they would have never given humanity to, that he has made people think twice and give humanity to these men. And that's classic American television history right there, Michael K. Williams.
When I watched.
All right, so that was Wendell Pierce talking about his co-star. Let's see, Wendell. Let's see, when is this from? This is a statement from Wendell Pierce. He said, quote, "To the depth of my love for this brother could only be matched by the depth of my pain learning of his loss." Wendell Pierce, who played Detective Bunk Moreland alongside Michael K. Williams in the series The Wire. He said, "An immensely talented man with the ability to give voice to the human condition, portraying the lives of those who humanity is seldom elevated until he sings their truth," end quote. Now, on Twitter, David Simon, creator of The Wire, let's see, let's flip back over to this here. On Twitter, David Simon, creator of The Wire, said, quote, "Too gutted right now to say all that ought to be said. Michael was a fine man and a rare talent. And on our journey together, he always deserved the best words. And today those words won't come." Let's see here. Okay, so read the rest of this also. This is from Vice.com. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay, I want to go to this next story here. This deals with Texas. There's been a lot of strange things coming out of Texas. Past few days, we've been talking about that. Well, the past couple of months, actually, we've been talking about that coming out of Texas. Before we get to Governor Greg Abbott signing this asinine bill, I want to let you know that we have a special promotion going on right now at the African History Network on our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have a 20% off sale. You get 20% off orders of $100 or more. Orders of DVD lectures and digital downloads at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Includes my lectures as well and bundle packs also. This is going until Friday, September 10th, 2021. Use promo code AHN20OFF 2021. Promo code AHN20OFF 2021. Okay. And it's right on the homepage of our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Now, that does not apply to online courses. All right. Online courses are already discounted. We have a new 10-week online course that starts up Saturday, September 11th. We have a new session of the 10-week online course that I teach from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. So this class would be 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can watch from around the world. We do the class live. All the sessions are recorded and archived. You can go back and watch them anytime. Even after the 10-week online course is over with, you can go back and watch the class. So next year, you can go back and watch it. So we deal with history starting, we look at 1865. Last year, the Civil War. Lincoln's assassinated. Juneteenth. Special Field Order number 15, 40 acres and a mule, January 1865. We deal with some history leading up to also the Civil War, and then we look at what happened to us after the Civil War ended. We go through the Reconstruction era, 1865 to 1877. We go through the Jim Crow era. We look at the reversal of rights and the attacks on our rights and voting rights and things like this. After Reconstruction ends, we look at things like the Mississippi State Constitution of 1890, which institutes the poll taxes and literacy tests, and how this is going to, it's known as the Mississippi Plan, and similar legislation is going to be passed in other southern states, South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, etc. We go through and look at, we just go through history. Each class, we go through and look at an approximately 10-year period of history to analyze and see what happened to us after slavery ended, after the Civil War. We go to look at World War I, 1914 and 1918, World War II. We look at the Civil Rights Movement and the Black Power Movement. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips, etc. Class is regularly $130, on sale $80. As soon as you register, there's bonus content that you'll get. You'll get the 2.5-hour lecture I did dealing with the history of Juneteenth. I did that June 16th, 2021. You get that in digital download format. And you'll get the 6 title bundle pack also in digital download format. Black Migration 1619 to 2019. You'll get this 6 bundle pack of my lectures as well, including When Black Men Dominated Horse Racing. And it deals with how we were winning the Kentucky Derbies, how we dominated horse racing. We got forced out of horse racing. Okay. So it's about a $200 value that you get for $80. So visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Click on register here. It takes you to the next page. Click on enroll. As soon as you enroll, you can start watching the content. You can join us in class on Saturday, September 11th, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, for class number 1 from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. And we just posted a link here as well. You can register for the class there also. All right. Let's continue here. I want to go to this story out of Texas. And there's an article here from the Washington Post. And there's also a clip from NBC News I'm going to go to as well. So let me cue up this clip. So Governor Greg Abbott, Republican governor of Texas, who's against mask mandates, against vaccine mandates. Governor Greg Abbott signed SB 1 into law today, this voter restriction bill. And he said it's going to make voting easier in Texas. Now, people filing lawsuits against the bill would disagree with him that it's going to make voting easier in Texas. I'm not exactly sure how he's going to do that. But if we look at this piece here from the Washington Post, just a second here. Look at this piece here from the Washington Post. Texas Governor Greg Abbott signs law creating new voter restrictions as opponents sue. Okay, now there have been at least 5 lawsuits filed. Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Tuesday, September 7th, signed into law a bill that creates strict new voting rules in the state, ending a months-long effort by Democrats to stall the legislation by denying Republicans a quorum in the House, the Texas State House of Representatives. But the law already has at least 5 challenges in state and federal courts, with dozens of organizations and individuals suing Texas GOP leaders and local elections officials. Governor Greg Abbott said he did not think the legal challenges would derail the legislation. Now, Governor Greg Abbott told reporters in Tyler, Texas, where he signed the bill, he said, "I feel extremely confident that when this law makes it through the litigation phase, it will be upheld in a court of law. No one who is eligible to vote will be denied the opportunity to vote. It does, however, make it harder for cheaters to cast an illegal ballot, but it makes it harder for people who, quote unquote, you say are legally voting. It makes it harder for many of them to vote as well." He doesn't want to deal with that. The whole goal is to suppress not all African Americans and Latinos from voting, suppress enough to shave off percentage points so that Republicans can keep winning elections and they can stay in power, because Texas is becoming less and less white. They have a growing African American and Latino population, and white Republicans are trying to maintain power by any means necessary. Now, the White House pledged Tuesday to continue battling new voter restrictions, which Republican leaders have passed in numerous states, often while citing former President Donald Trump's false claim of mass electoral fraud in the 2020 presidential election. The big lie. Now, the crazy thing about the big lie is none of these Republicans who won seats in the House of Representatives, because Republicans actually picked up seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. They actually gained seats. Republicans, 212 Republicans won their races, and they actually gained seats. None of the Republicans who are claiming this big lie are claiming any fraudulent votes were cast for them. Their names were on the same ballot as Joe Biden and Donald Trump. The claim that they're making is that all the fraudulent votes were cast for Joe Biden. None cast for any of these 212 Republicans won seats in the House of Representatives on the same ballot that Joe Biden and Donald Trump's name was on. None of the Republicans who won are saying recount the ballots in their races that they won and look for fraudulent votes there. None of them is saying that fraudulent votes were cast for Republicans. So your argument is that Democrats rigged the election so Joe Biden would win, but they didn't rig it so Amy McGrath would beat Mitch McConnell in Kentucky, and they're on the same ballot as Joe Biden and Donald Trump in Kentucky. Your argument is Democrats rigged the election so Joe Biden will win, but they didn't rig it so Jamie Harrison would beat Lindsey Graham for the Senate race in South Carolina. And they're all on the same ballot as Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Your argument is that Democrats rigged the election for Joe Biden, but none of the fraudulent votes were cast for any of the 212 Republicans that won House seats. They're lying, and they know they're lying. But they're lying, and they know they're lying. But they have been lying so long that they can't stop lying and admit that they've been lying to these dumbasses that keep voting for them. And Republicans have raised, and when you look at the 61 lawsuits that were filed claiming all this voter fraud, and then when they go to court, they don't provide evidence. They don't provide evidence that proves widespread voter fraud. Okay, one. Two, they raised over $250 million to file these frivolous lawsuits. So they can't go back to the same dumbasses that donated to them and then admit they were lying, because they're going to want their money back. One of the people who donated money said they wanted their money back because he realized that they were lying about the big lie. We talked about this before, and let me see if we can pull this up. This was I think it was The Guardian. I think it was The Guardian had I think The Guardian had an article on this. I can't find the one from the Guardian. Here's one from Washington Post. It's about Fred Eshelman. Now, he's smarter than most of these idiots that haven't figured it out yet. A GOP donor gave $2.5 million for a voter fraud investigation. Now he wants his money back. A GOP donor gave $2.5 million for a voter fraud investigation. Now he wants his money back. This is old Fred. Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all he ever saw, get in trouble with the law since the day he was born. Fred Eshelman, founder of Eshelman Ventures, is suing True the Vote after he donated $2.5 million to the group, which claimed it was undertaking a voter fraud investigation. Now, this is from February 15, 2021. And there was one, the first article I saw about this, and it took me about 15 minutes to stop laughing. First one I saw about this was from the Guardian. We're gonna try to pull that one up from the Guardian. Okay. See, I just want you to see how stupid some of these people are. But what they're doing is they're writing legislation that's harmful to us based upon a lie, based upon conspiracy theories, and they keep conning dumbass people, ignorant people. So let's look at this quickly here, and then we're gonna go back to this. We'll go back to the article about this other idiot, Governor Greg Abbott. Like many Trump supporters, conservative donor Fred Eshelman awoke the day after the presidential election with the suspicion that something wasn't right. Yeah, your candidate lost. His candidate's apparent lead in key battleground states had evaporated overnight. The next day, the North Carolina financier and his advisors reached out to a small conservative nonprofit group in Texas that was seeking to expose voter fraud. After a 20-minute talk with the group's president, their first conversation, Fred Eshelman was sold. There's a sucker born every minute. Okay. Now he's about an hour's worth. There's a sucker born every minute. He's about an hour's worth. Quote, I'm in for two. Quote unquote, I'm in for two, he told the president of True the Vote, according to court documents and interviews with Fred Eshelman and others. $200,000, one of his advisors on the call asked. $2 million, Fred Eshelman responded. Now, let me ask you a question. If elections don't have consequences and it don't matter who you voted for, why is Fred Eshelman paying $2 million to file lawsuits to overturn election results? If a wealthy white man is paying $2 million to overturn election results, and he's already rich, he's already wealthy, you think maybe elections have consequences? Politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, the adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. All you have to do is look at the results of the idiotic abortion bill that passed the state legislature in Texas and signed into law by Governor Greg Abbott also. And we see the fallout from that. So Fred said he's going to donate $2 million. Now, over the next 12 days, Fred Eshelman came to regret his donation. Surprise, surprise, surprise. And to doubt conspiracy theories of rampant illegal voting. Oh, really? You were that dumb to believe this nonsense in the first place. I hope they don't give you your money back. You that stupid? You don't deserve to get your money back. I hope you don't get your money back. According to court records and interviews. Now, over the next 12 days, Fred Eshelman came to regret his donation and to doubt conspiracy theories of rampant illegal voting. According to court records and interviews. Now he wants his money back. Native Americans want their country back. And African people who were here as well before Europeans got here. So let's get this straight. Okay. See, this is funny. This stuff is hilarious to me. So He wants his money back. He wanted to file lawsuits to overturn election results. And you want to suppress the votes largely of African Americans and Latinos. You want your money back. Well, we want our country back. How about that? The story behind the Fred Eshelman donation, detailed in previously unreported court filings and exclusive interviews with those involved, provides new insights into the frenetic days after the election when baseless claims led donors to give hundreds of millions of dollars to reverse President Joe Biden's victory. Trump's campaign and the Republican Party collected $255 million in 2 months from stupid ass people. Half of them probably can't read. They could, in 2 months, they collected $255 million from people who were so stupid they believed that the election was stolen from Trump, and they want lawsuits filed to overturn election results. Now, some of those dumbasses were there January 6th at the insurrection, and they're being prosecuted, rightfully so. The guy with the horns on his head, he got convicted. So a lot of them being prosecuted now. There's supposed to be another rally September 18th. They're gonna go back there, and they're calling the insurrectionists that got arrested, and some of them in jail right now waiting trial. They call them prisoners, political prisoners. No, they're not political prisoners. They're stupid. They're not political prisoners. They're stupid, and they're insurrectionists. So Trump's campaign and the Republican Party collected $255 million from losers and suckers in 2 months, saying the money would support legal challenges to an election marred by fraud. So, I sit back and it's like, who's dumber? The people that come up with this nonsense, that run this game on stupid people, or the stupid people who believe it? Let's look at this piece right here from Washington Post. Despite GOP rhetoric, there have been fewer than 24 charged cases of voter fraud since the election. One person has faced charges for every 10 million votes cast. One person has faced charges for every 10 million votes cast. Despite GOP rhetoric, there have been fewer than 24 charged cases of voter fraud since the election. See, they're just running game on these ignorant people. Read this piece here from Washington Post from Philip Bump. Let's go back to this other one here. All right, now, True the Vote was one of several conservative election integrity groups that sought to press the case in court. Though its lawsuits drew less attention than those brought by the Trump campaign, True the Vote nonetheless sought to raise more than $7 million for its investigations of the 2020 election. Documents that have surfaced in Fred Eshelman's litigation, along with interviews, show how True the Vote's private assurances that it was on the cusp of revealing illegal election schemes repeatedly fizzled as the group's focus shifted from one allegation to the next. So they kept running hustles on them. So we're going to use this allegation. Oh, that don't work. We're going to use this allegation. That don't work. I remember one case they were going to take to the U.S. Supreme Court, and Trump was saying, this is the big one. This is all the evidence is coming out. Wait a second. The other multiple lawsuits that were thrown out of court, that stuff was just warm up for the big one. Oh, now this is the mother of the lawsuits. And the Supreme Court didn't take that case up either. I don't think the Supreme Court took that case up. Nonsense. Lying. Who's dumber? The people who come up with the lie and think people are dumb enough to fall for it, or the people who are dumb enough to fall for it? Documents that have surfaced in Fred Eshelman's litigation, along with interviews, show how the True the Vote's private assurances that it was on the cusp of revealing illegal election schemes repeatedly fizzled as the group's focus shifted from one allegation to the next. The nonprofit sought to coordinate its efforts with a coalition of Trump allies, including Trump attorney Jay Sekulow and spineless Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, the documents show. Fred Eshelman has alleged in 2 lawsuits, one in federal court, he's alleged in 2 lawsuits. One lawsuit in federal court has been withdrawn, and the other is ongoing in a Texas state court. But back at the time of this article, February 2021. Eshelman has alleged in 2 lawsuits that True the Vote did not spend his $2 million gift and a subsequent $500,000 donation as it said it would. Fred Eshelman also alleges that True the Vote directed much of his money to people or businesses connected to the group's president, Catherine Engelbrecht. Asked about the shifting focus from allegation to allegation, Engelbrecht said, quote, "A good thorough investigation takes the course it takes, and we were not going to expose whistleblowers to make a quick headline." She said that the group's investigation, quote, "is ongoing even now. In court documents, True the Vote says Eshelman's money was spent properly." So read the rest of this. Just more lies and more nonsense. Is a bunch of losers and suckers donate money thinking they're going to overturn election results. And then the first piece I saw on Fred Eshelman was from theguardian.com. Trump supporter who gave $2.5 million to fight election fraud wants money back. And this was from November 20th. This is from November 28th, 2020. This one was from November 28th, 2020. And the one from the Washington Post was from February 2021. Okay, so check this out here. So you got people realizing we've been had, we've been took, we've been led astray, run amok, bamboozled. Okay, but not enough people are realizing that. Okay, so let's go back to this. Okay, Jen Psaki, White House press secretary, referring to those seeking to block the Texas law, said, so we would say to those advocates, we stand with you. There's more we're going to keep working on together. The vice president is going to be leading this effort, and we agree that voting should be a fundamental right to people. End quote. Texas lawmakers last week approved a bill which imposes new criminal penalties for violating voting laws. It bans 24-hour and drive-through voting, which is used a lot in Harris County. Harris County is where Houston, Texas is. Harris County has a large population of African Americans. Bans 24-hour and drive-through voting and allows more access for partisan poll watchers. Governor Greg Abbott at the time argued that the legislation would, quote, solidify trust and confidence in the outcome of our elections by making it easier to vote and harder to cheat, end quote, by making it easier to vote and harder to cheat. But opponents swiftly took to federal court, filing 2 separate complaints on Friday, September 3rd, seeking injunctions to stop Senate Bill 1, SB 1, from going into effect. One of those complaints filed in San Antonio, Texas, lists 14 plaintiffs, including Texas Impact, a faith-based advocacy group. Executive Director B. Moorhead said in a news release that the group was suing after having, quote, prayed, protested, preached, and pushed. But at the end of the day, lawmakers have chosen a path that will lead to disenfranchisement. Lawmakers have chosen a path that will lead to disenfranchisement. Now, let's look at this here. A second complaint was filed in Austin, Texas on Friday, September 3rd, on behalf of 5 plaintiffs, including the League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan group that encourages civic engagement, and Rev Up Texas, the League of Women Voters, and Rev Up Texas. Which advocates for voters with disabilities. Okay, Rev Up Texas advocates for voters with disabilities. Quote, litigation is always a last resort, said Ryan Cox, a lawyer at the Texas Civil Rights Project, who represents Austin, Texas plaintiffs. Only when the legislature ignores federal law, ignores all the facts given to them by the communities that the bill affects, only then do we consider litigation. Only then do we consider litigation. Both lawsuits claim SB 1 violates federal law and name Republican state leaders, including Governor Greg Abbott, Texas State Attorney General Ken Paxton, and Deputy Secretary of State Joe Esperanza. Governor Greg Abbott and Attorney General Ken Paxton did not respond to messages from the Washington Post seeking comment, and Esperanza declined to comment. The complaints also target local election officials who are tasked with implementing the new legislation. Okay, I want to go to this clip here from, let me see, we got it queued up. I think we do. I want to go to this clip here from NBC News Now, dealing with this bill that was signed into law today. Let's go to this clip.
A controversial elections bill in Texas has just been signed into law by Governor Greg Abbott. Back in July, Texas Democrats broke quorum, you'll remember. In the state assembly, they traveled to Washington, D.C. to protest that GOP effort to change voting in Texas. NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson joins us now from the state capitol in Austin. So, Priscilla, bring us up to speed here. What sorts of changes will take effect now?
The governor signed that bill moments ago and held it up and proudly declared that election integrity is now the law here in Texas. But that is going to change things for the more than 16.6 million registered voters here. It is going to ban overnight and drive-through voting, something that was very popular in Harris County and Houston. It's going to create new criminal penalties for election workers. For example, if they want to send those unsolicited vote-by-mail applications to people who automatically qualify, that now becomes a felony. Meanwhile, it bolsters protections for partisan poll watchers, creates new voter ID requirements for vote by mail, and also new rules for people who are assisting voters. So lots of changes to come here on the ground with that new bill being signed and expected to go into effect officially within 90 days. Lindsay?
Priscilla,
Aaron?
what are you hearing from Texas Democrats about this?
I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, Democrats are still not happy about this. And what they are saying is that there's 90 days until this bill goes into effect. There is still time for federal lawmakers to act. We saw some federal protections being passed in the House within the past several weeks, and they're calling on the Senate to act and for something to get done on this. They say that they, broke quorum. They lobbied those lawmakers, did all that they could, and now it is extremely dire and important that they act. But of course, Republicans are saying this is making our election safer. This is streamlining the process across the state. And you even heard the governor and other leaders saying that this could be an example for other states moving forward looking to pass new voting laws.
All right, that's from NBC News. That's from NBC News Now. And name of that clip, Texas Governor Abbott signs controversial elections integrity bill into law. So we'll talk some more about this in the coming days. You'll hear more about this as well. There was on the Rachel Maddow show. today. She talked about this, and she interviewed Mark Elias, who's filed a lawsuit. In Texas regarding this this new bill. And one of the things that was said, and we may find the clip from the Rachel Maddow show tomorrow. We may have that on tomorrow's show. But in talking about the lawsuit, and let me see if we can pull something up here, because I took a snapshot of the screen. It is no coincidence that SB 1 passed just months after Texas Republican leaders, including the state's governor, attorney general, and members of its congressional delegation, tried and failed to overturn the presidential election results and disenfranchise millions of voters in other states. Okay. And we're going to try to get that interview that she did with Mark Elias, because it helps shed a lot of light, maybe for people that don't follow this. It helps shed a lot of light on this bill. And also check out this article here from NBC News. Let me pull this up. Do we have, okay, this one right here. That clip that I just played is in this article. Texas Governor Abbott signed sweeping election bill into law. So check out this article also. The bill faced months of opposition from Democrats who decried it as Jim Crow 2.0 and fled the state to slow its passage. So read this also. All right. We're going to go to this last topic very quickly here. If you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/ the AHN show, paypal.me/ the AHN show, and at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We're here 6 days a week. This also us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, finance the show, pay some of the bills. This is our official Cash App account, $ the AHN show, SHOW. And when you go to it, it shows my name. It says Michael and shows my picture there. These other ones are fake African History Network Cash App accounts. Our actual Cash App tag is $ the AHN show, SHOW. So if you type it in manually, type in the full Cash App tag. Okay, let's continue. There was I did a 2.5 hour broadcast on Labor Day. I did it around, I think it's about 7:30 that I started the broadcast on Labor Day. And we talked about, so it wasn't on 9:10 a.m. Superstation at 11 p.m. I didn't, none of the shows were on live. They just had rebroadcasts. So I did a special broadcast for Labor Day dealing with the African-American roots of Labor Day and African slave labor and the Industrial Revolution. And we talked about the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, A. Philip Randolph, Frederick Douglass, Isaac Myers, and how the Industrial Revolution is rooted in, Industrial Revolution starts in 1790s, largely around Manchester, England, and it's rooted in the production of cotton. And most of that cotton was produced by African slaves. Okay, so we talked about this, and that's at our on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. And we'll be rebroadcasting that also. There was a, at the end of that broadcast, because I ended up doing like 2.5 hours. At the end of that broadcast, I talked about this article here from newsone.com. And the name of this article is 5 black-led labor unions that have paved the way. Pull this up. 5 black-led labor unions that have paved the way for black workers' rights. 5 black-led labor unions that have paved the way for black workers' rights. And they talk about, we'll talk about this some more on tomorrow's show. They deal with, talk about Frederick Douglass. They talk, let me see. Let's close this out. Talk about A. Philip Randolph, Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters. Founded in 1925. The Colored National Labor Union and Isaac Myers. Founded in 1869, Colored National Labor Union. Also, they discuss the National Domestic Workers Union, National Domestic Workers Union, and Dorothy Lee Bolden, founded in 1968. The Coalition of Black Trade Unionists, founded in 1972. And the American League of Colored Laborers, and this was led by Frederick Douglass, and it was created in 1850. Okay, the American League of Colored Laborers. All right, so we'll discuss this a little bit on tomorrow's show, but go and watch the 2.5-hour presentation I did dealing with the African American roots of Labor Day and African slave labor and the Industrial Revolution. All right. I want to remind you that we have a 20% off sale right now at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You get 20% off my DVD lectures and digital downloads. Use promo code AHN20 off. Use promo code AHN20 off. AHN20 off. Use that at checkout. And get 20% off digital downloads and DVD lectures and bundle packs, things like that. Okay. And you can also register for the new 10-week online course we have starting up Saturday, September 11th, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Class number 1 from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Starts up, and this is a 10-week online course. Each class we go through and analyze approximately a 10-year period of history, starting in 1865 with the end of the Civil War, in the last year of the Civil War, 13th Amendment, and we go through history and look at what happened to us after slavery ended, what were the laws and policies to put us in the predicament we are in today, so we understand where we need to go from here. And then on Sunday, September 12th, we have class number 1 of another 10-week online course I teach. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. In this class, we deal with thousands of years of history, and we deal with what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. And we go through and study the ancient Kemet, ancient Africa, ancient Egypt, Nile Valley region of Africa, Ghana, Songhai, Mali. We deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors. And we deal with what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. And we go through and analyze the transatlantic slave trade also. So this is a 10-week online course. It's going to be on Sundays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do the class live. All the sessions are recorded and archived. You can go back and watch them anytime. Even after the 10-week class is over with, you can still watch it. As soon as you register, there's bonus content that you can start watching also. And you'll get my Juneteenth lecture also included with this as well for free. This class is regularly $130, on sale $80. Both of these classes, I would say, are PG-13, so you can use these with your children and teenagers, things like this as well. From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968, that class picks up where Understand the Transatlantic Slave Trade leaves off, basically. Okay, the second class picks up where Understand the Transatlantic Slave Trade leaves off. You can enroll in the classes in any order. So you can roll in Civil War, the Civil Rights Movement first, and then Understand the Transatlantic Slave Trade. You can enroll in both of them at the same time also. All right, so we'll see you in class Saturday and Sunday. And we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in today. Remember, right now is correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And